Albert Einstein once said, "Imagination is more important than knowledge." This wasn't just a clever quote. It was his confession about the real source of his genius, of his ideas. While other scientists read and buried themselves in their books and laboratories, Einstein imagined riding alongside a beam of light or visualized elevators in a free fall and saw gravity as a warping of space. His use of imagination led to the most revolutionary scientific discoveries of the 20th century. But here's what most people miss. Einstein wasn't born with some magical ability. He deliberately developed his imagination through specific mental exercises. He understood something most of us forget. Imagination isn't just for artists or for children. It's the fundamental force behind every breakthrough, every innovation, and every leap forward in human progress. So, think about it. Think about imagination. Why does it matter? The device you're reading this on, or watching this video, or listening to this podcast began as an idea. The chair you're sitting in, the coffee you're drinking, the music in your earbuds, all started as mental images. But imagination isn't just about inventing new things. It's about solving problems, seeing opportunities, and creating better futures. Success in the future requires adapting to constant change. Face it, the jobs of tomorrow do not exist today. The solutions to our biggest problems haven't been discovered yet. There is an unlimited frontier to be innovated. Now, this is where your imagination skill becomes your superpower. It allows you to see what others don't and create what others can't. So, while most think imagination is just about creativity, the real innovators understand it's a three-part system. Each type serves a very specific purpose, and when combined, they create what Einstein called combinatory play, the ability to see and seize opportunities others miss entirely. 1. Strategic imagination. This is your mind's telescope, the ability to spot distant opportunities and envision a different future. It's about seeing patterns and possibilities before others do. Strategic imagination helps you map multiple paths to the goal and anticipate all the obstacles well before they arise. Some examples, like Jeff Bezos, imagined a future where all the shopping would be online when most people still thought the internet was a fad. Or Reed Hastings saw streaming videos potential when everybody else was focused on DVD rentals. Or Henry Ford envisioned cars for everyone when others saw them as luxury items. Or about weather forecasters. Weather forecasters use this to visualize how weather patterns might develop and interact. The second of the three-part, creative imagination. Think of this as your mind's laboratory, where you experiment with new combinations and possibilities. It's not just about being artistic. It's about making unexpected connections and seeing relationships that don't exist or others just don't see. Creative imagination helps you generate novel solutions and approach problems from very unusual angles. Examples in action include Elon Musk combining electric vehicles with luxury performance when others saw them just as eco-friendly. Or the inventors of Airbnb seeing spare rooms as potential hotel rooms. Or what about scientists in visualizing molecules in 3D to understand their structure? Or what about chefs creating new dishes by combining unexpected flavors and textures? Third, practical imagination. This is your mind's workshop where ideas get transformed into reality. It helps you visualize the specific steps needed to turn concepts into results. Practical imagination bridges the gap between what could be and what could be done right now. Examples include engineers breaking down complex projects into manageable steps, or an entrepreneur figuring out how to start with limited resources, or project managers visualizing all the potential bottlenecks before they happen. What about athletes mentally rehearsing their performance sequences? Most people naturally lean towards one type of imagination. True innovators develop all three. Strategic imagination shows you where to go. Creative imagination generates new ways to get there, and the practical imagination helps you actually make the journey. Now, most people use their imagination really by accident, but there's a true power behind imagination. People wait for that inspiration to strike or the ideas to fully appear. Einstein did the exact opposite. He treated imagination like a muscle that could be strengthened through deliberate practice. He developed specific mental exercises, turning random flashes of insight into a reliable system for breakthrough thinking. The key isn't just using your imagination, it's training it systematically. Like an athlete preparing for a competition, you need specific exercises that target different aspects of your mental capabilities. Each exercise builds a particular strength, and when combined, they create what Einstein would call intellectual muscle. Now, what follows are 7 unconventional exercises, each designed to strengthen a specific aspect of your imagination. Now, these aren't your typical creativity drills. They're based on the same principles Einstein used, but adapted for today's challenges. Some might seem strange at first. That's intentional. Like any effective training program, they're designed to push you beyond your comfort zone. So, what are these 7? These are specific steps and actions to take to really develop your imagination. Now, each of them is expected to exercise a specific area of your capabilities. Number 1, reverse engineering dreams. Yes, you heard me right. Dreams are your brain's natural imagination playground, unbounded by physical laws or even social constraints. And by analyzing how your mind creates these complex scenarios, you can learn to consciously harness this creative power during your waking hours. The key is capturing these insights immediately upon waking, before your logical mind starts filtering and forgetting those imaginative elements. So how do you do this? Well, you write down your dreams immediately upon waking. Keep that notebook next to your bedside. Later in the day, try to imagine how different decisions would have changed the dream's outcome. This trains your brain to create and manipulate complex scenarios. Second exercise, the empty room exercise. This exercise forces your mind to create something from nothing, much like successful entrepreneurs and innovators do. By repeatedly imagining the same space in different ways, you strengthen your ability to see multiple possibilities in any scenarios. The empty room becomes your mental gymnasium for building imaginative strength. So how do you do it? You set an empty room for 30 minutes. Look at the blank walls and mentally design the perfect room. Don't write it down. Don't put it on paper. Start with furniture, then add details like lighting and pictures, artwork, other people that may be in the room. Change everything every 5 minutes. Blow it all out of your head. Start over again. This builds your ability to create and modify detailed mental images. Third exercise, future history mapping. This technique reverses traditional goal setting by forcing you to imagine successes as a historical fact rather than a future possibility. By creating multiple pathways to the same goal, you develop mental flexibility and strategic thinking. It's particularly powerful because it combines imagination with practical planning. So how do you practice? Pick a major goal you want to achieve in, let's say 5 years. Write a detailed history of how you achieved it, working backwards from success. I will sometimes write this out as if a reporter was reporting it after it happened. and how we got there. Include obstacles you overcame and decisions you made. Create 3 different versions of this history, or 4 or 5, whatever you're comfortable with. Now, this develops your strategic imagination and those critical planning abilities. 4th exercise, random word integration. This exercise breaks your brain's habitual thinking patterns by forcing connections between unrelated concepts. It mimics the same mental process that leads to breakthrough innovations and creative problem solving in business and science. The randomness prevents your mind from falling into familiar thought patterns and those ruts that we all tend to land in. So how do you practice this? Open a dictionary to 3 random words. Create a business idea that combines all 3 of the words. Not 2, not 1. You have to come up with a business idea that uses all 3 random words. Now, develop this idea for 10 minutes. That's your exercise. Now, repeat this daily. Take 3 random words, create a business idea. So this builds your ability to make unusual connections and to be able to see it and do it on the spot. Don't have to wait for the inspiration. Do it now. 5th exercise, system inversion. Now, we've talked about systematic thinking as a thinking skill. You can go check out that video. What is system inversion? By turning familiar systems upside down, you challenge your assumptions about how things should work. This exercise is particularly valuable for business innovation and process improvement because it forces you to question established methods and it allows you to find new efficiencies. It's the same thinking process that led to revolutionary business models like Netflix streaming services. So how do you practice this? Pick any system you use regularly, like even your morning routine. Getting up, making breakfast, drinking coffee. List every step. Reverse the entire system. Find ways to make the reversed system work. This develops your ability to question assumptions and find entirely new solutions. Now, the 6th exercise, constraint addition. Now, I've talked about constraint-based innovation a lot. You can find that over in the podcast over at Killer Innovations. But this is about adding artificial constraints, and it forces your brain to find creative solutions that it wouldn't normally even consider. Now, this mimics real-world problem solving, where people, time, money, or your options are very limited. The practice builds mental agility and helps you see opportunities in the limitations. So how do you practice this? Take any normal activity. Add 3 random constraints, like it must be done without using hands, or I have to convey information but can't say anything. Figure out how to accomplish the task. This builds your problem-solving imagination. 7. The 7th exercise, memory palace expansion. This technique combines the ancient memory palace method with creative visualization to build your capacity for detailed mental imagery. By adding impossible elements, you stretch your mind's ability to create and maintain complex mental constructs. This skill transfers directly to business planning and strategic thinking. So how do you practice this? Create a detailed mental image of a familiar place. Add 1 new impossible feature each day, like waterfalls flowing upwards. Return to this place daily and recall all of the previous additions. So you have to keep this in your head over multiple days. This builds your ability to not only remember, but to create and maintain complex mental ideas, mental images, mental concepts. So, now that I've given you this framework, how do you implement it? So like any skill, imagination requires systematic practice and clear progression path. So here's a way to structure the framework and building your capabilities over time. And this also kind of ensures you that you're not overwhelming yourself with trying to maintain all 7 exercises, all simultaneously every day. So, here you go. Start with the empty room exercise for the first 2 weeks. Next, add the future history mapping for week 3. Incorporate random word integration in week 4. Add 1 new exercise every 2 weeks after that. Keep a daily log of the insights and the ideas, and then review and adjust monthly. So, the key here is measuring progress. So while your imagination may seem abstract, you can and should track your progress through these specific indicators. These are measurements that will help you identify and improve your imagination capabilities and their impact on your work and your decision making. So, what are some of the things you should track? Though the number of ideas generated daily, the quality of the solutions to the problems, time needed to solve complex challenges, or the ability to visualize detailed scenarios. What about the number of opportunities spotted weekly? Come up with your metrics, track them, and then show it progressing over as you do these exercises. So, every significant breakthrough in human history started with someone imagining something different. Einstein imagined riding that beam of light. Steve Jobs imagined computers in everyone's home. Sarah Blakely imagined a different type of shapewear and created Spanx. These weren't just idle daydreams. They were structured uses of imagination backed by deliberate action. You have the same mental abilities, the same equipment as these innovators. The exercises and the framework are the keys to unlocking your own potential for breakthrough thinking. Every time you practice these techniques, you strengthen your ability to see opportunities others miss and create solutions others can't even envision. Start with 1 exercise today. It doesn't matter which one. What matters is taking that first step to develop your imagination deliberately and systematically. Now, a year from now, you won't be just thinking differently. You'll be achieving differently. In a world of constant change and challenge, imagination isn't just helpful, it's the difference between creating the future or adapting to a future created by others. Your next breakthrough is already in your mind. These tools will help you find it. So, here you are. You hung out to the end again. I really do appreciate it. There's one more step you should take. Check out the Think series of content over here in the YouTube channel, such as how to improve your critical thinking skill, how to stop being mentally weak, and hit that subscribe button now. And every click, every time you watch one of the videos, it's about growing in your ability to create this mental ability, improving your thinking skills. I'm also announcing that we now do have community and memberships available over on YouTube. So check those out, become part of the community, join a membership. Membership helps support the channel. It helps the staff who does all the work behind the scenes. As you know, I take no money from any of the subscriptions that you may have been part of. But if you enjoy this content, how about helping out? Go over and take a look at memberships. There'll be custom content only available to those that are in the membership. So check it out. If you're not a subscriber, subscribe today, please. Also give us that like. Your future self will thank you. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.